Tired of scrolling through jaw-dropping garden photos that feel impossible for your tiny backyard or balcony? What if that neglected corner could become a vibrant, envy-worthy retreat that screams you without needing a huge budget or endless space? At Garden Homes, we're flipping the script on small garden woes. In this video, we're sharing 10 brilliant, budget-friendly DIY ideas and clever design hacks to transform even the tiniest patch into a lush, functional oasis you'll never want to leave. From vertical planters to space-doubling illusions, these are the secrets landscapers don't want you to know. Ready to turn your small space into a big vibe? Hit subscribe, join the Garden Homes crew, and let's make your garden dreams bloom starting now. The problem of no ground space. Let's tackle the most common problem first. You have almost zero ground space. Your garden might be a tiny patio, a narrow balcony, or a concrete slab that's seen better days. When you can't build out, there's only one way to go: up. The trick is to get into vertical gardening. This is hands down one of the most effective strategies for a small space, because it completely changes how you see the area. By drawing your eye upward, you create this amazing illusion of height and lushness that makes the whole garden feel so much bigger. So how do you do it? The options are endless and work for any budget. You could install a simple wooden trellis against a wall and train climbing plants like a vibrant clematis or a fragrant jasmine up it. You can even grow climbing beans and peas. Another fantastic DIY project is using a repurposed wooden pallet. You can often find these for free. Just stand it upright, staple landscaping fabric inside the slats to make pockets, fill them with soil, and boom, you have an instant rustic chic herb garden perfect for basil, mint, and thyme. Don't want to build anything? Look for fabric wall pockets, or even those hanging shoe organizers. Seriously, they're brilliant. Just hang one on a fence or wall, fill the pockets with soil, and plant away. They're perfect for a salad garden with different lettuces and spinach. You can even grow strawberries and let the fruit cascade beautifully down the front. And let's not forget classic hanging baskets. They bring color and life right up to eye level without taking up any floor space, which is perfect for trailing flowers like fuchsias and petunias. By going vertical, you're not just planting, you're building living walls that turn a cramped spot into a green sanctuary. The problem of a flat, boring space. Okay, so maybe you have a little bit of ground, but it just feels flat. It's a one-dimensional square of grass or patio that has zero personality. Sticking a few pots in the corner isn't cutting it, and the whole space feels static and uninspired. Sound familiar? The solution is to create layers and levels. This is a design secret that professional landscapers use all the time, and it's surprisingly easy to copy on a small scale. By introducing different heights, you create visual interest and an illusion of depth that makes the garden far more exciting to look at. The most direct way to do this is with raised beds or tiered planters. You can build simple, compact raised beds from wood. Even having just two beds at slightly different heights can break up that boring flatness. For a really dynamic look, try a tiered planter, which is basically a staircase for your plants. You can buy these ready-made or DIY one from old dresser drawers or stacked crates. This setup lets you plant in layers, put taller architectural plants like a dwarf evergreen at the top, bushy flowering plants in the middle, and beautiful spiller plants like creeping thyme or sweet potato vine at the bottom to trail over the edges. But creating layers isn't just about planters. Think about your plant choices too. Place taller, airier plants like Verbena bonariensis or ornamental grasses toward the back of a border. In front of them, plant some medium-sized perennials, and then put low-growing ground cover at the very front. This technique fools the eye, making a shallow border feel much deeper than it really is. You're creating a tiny landscape with a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, giving the whole garden a sense of structure that flatness just can't compete with. The problem of a tight budget. So you've got the vision and the energy, but your wallet is gently telling you to take a deep breath. Let's be real. Landscaping materials, fancy designer pots, and mature plants can be shockingly expensive, making a garden makeover feel totally out of reach. This is where you get to have some real fun. The answer is to become a master of upcycling. This is your chance to let your personality shine and create a garden that's truly one of a kind, all while being super budget-friendly and good for the planet. Start looking at junk with new eyes. That old rusty wheelbarrow, don't toss it. It makes a fantastic deep planter with a charming cottage garden vibe. Just make sure you drill some drainage holes in the bottom. Got a few old tires lying around? A coat of brightly colored weather-resistant paint turns them into fun, funky planters for flowers, or even potatoes. Old metal colanders are basically begging to be hanging baskets since they already have drainage holes. And how about a pair of old rain boots? You can fill them with soil and plant cheerful flowers for a touch of pure whimsy. One of my absolute favorite upcycling hacks is using old vinyl gutters. You can mount them horizontally on a fence or wall to create a shallow planter that's perfect for growing rows of lettuce, spinach, or strawberries. In the same vein, old tin cans, painted and with holes punched in the bottom, can be attached to a board to create a cool modular herb garden. You can even arrange broken terracotta pots into a tiny fairy garden with succulents. When you repurpose items like these, you're not just saving money and reducing waste, you're adding stories and character to your garden that you could never buy from a store. The problem of a chaotic, cluttered space. Sometimes, in our excitement to create a garden, we just overdo it. A random mix of different pots, a hodgepodge of plants, and mismatched furniture can make a small space feel chaotic, cluttered, and even smaller than it actually is. It feels messy, not calm. The fix here is to give the garden a focal point. A focal point is a single strong visual element that anchors the entire design. It gives your eye a place to rest, which ironically makes the whole area feel more organized, intentional, and even bigger. It tells you where to look and brings a sense of order to the chaos. So what can be a focal point? It doesn't have to be big or expensive. One of the best options is a small self-contained water feature. The gentle sound of bubbling water adds a serene sensory element that also helps mask neighborhood noise. You can easily make one by putting a small solar-powered pump inside a large glazed ceramic pot. An arched trellis placed over a path or against a wall can create a beautiful frame, immediately drawing your eye. A piece of striking garden art, a brightly painted bench, or even a single exceptionally beautiful pot can do the same job. The key is to make sure it stands out from its surroundings and to place it strategically. For example, put your focal point at the very end of a path to draw the eye down the length of the garden, which makes it seem longer. By giving your garden a clear center of attention, you're turning a jumble of stuff into a thoughtfully designed scene. The problem of being a renter or needing flexibility. You would absolutely love to have a garden, but you're a renter, and you can't exactly start digging up the yard or building permanent structures. Or maybe your patio has weird patches of sun and shade that shift throughout the day, and you need a garden that can adapt. The solution is brilliant and simple. Put your garden on wheels. Creating a portable container-based garden gives you the ultimate freedom to grow what you want, where you want, without making any permanent changes. This is a total game changer for renters and anyone who just likes to switch things up. The idea is straightforward. Build or buy some planters and attach heavy-duty caster wheels to the bottom. You can build simple square boxes from reclaimed wood, or just buy some attractive pots. The wheels let you easily move your plants around to chase the sunlight, which is critical for sun-loving veggies like tomatoes and peppers. It also means you can be a plant parent hero and roll your more delicate plants into a sheltered spot during a storm or heat wave. Beyond the practical perks, a mobile garden lets you be a landscape designer on a whim. Having guests over? You can rearrange your planters to create an open, inviting space for a party. Want to create a cozy private reading nook? Just roll a few taller planters into position to make a living green screen. You can grow anything in these rolling containers: herbs, flowers, dwarf fruit trees, you name it. A garden on wheels is the perfect answer for modern flexible living, proving you don't need to own the ground under your feet to grow a beautiful and productive space. The problem of an awkwardly shaped garden. Let's face it, not all gardens are perfect squares. Many of us are dealing with long, narrow side yards, L-shaped patios, or other weird layouts that are tough to work with. These shapes can feel cramped and restrictive, more like a hallway than a room. The secret is to use some clever layout illusions to trick the eye and change how the space feels. With a few smart moves, you can make these awkward areas feel wider, deeper, and much more balanced. One of the most effective tricks, especially for a boxy space, is to put your design on a diagonal. Instead of laying pavers or a small deck parallel to the house, turn everything 45 degrees. This one simple change forces your eye to follow the longest possible line in the garden, the diagonal, which instantly makes it feel bigger. It breaks up that rigid, boxy feeling and adds a ton of dynamic energy. For a long, narrow garden, you want to avoid the bowling alley effect. Don't put a straight path that shoots directly to the back fence. That just makes it look even longer and narrower. Instead, create a gently curving or winding path. A meandering line slows you down, creates a little bit of mystery by hiding parts of the garden from view, and makes the space feel wider and more interesting. You can also break up the long run by using a screen, a trellis, or a series of large pots to divide the space into smaller, distinct rooms or zones. These techniques work by disrupting the boring, predictable lines and replacing them with something much more engaging. The problem of the garden disappearing at night. You've poured all this time and effort into creating a beautiful garden, but the moment the sun goes down, it just vanishes into a dark, uninviting void. You're missing out on hours of enjoyment, especially on those warm summer evenings. The answer is to add a little bit of simple, magical DIY lighting. Outdoor lighting is one of the most transformative parts of garden design, but it's so often overlooked. It lets you use your garden well into the evening and creates a whole new atmosphere that can be even more enchanting than it is in the daytime. And you don't need some complicated, expensive system. Solar-powered lights are fantastic and super affordable now. The easiest way to start is with string lights or fairy lights. Drape them along a fence, weave them through the branches of a small tree or a trellis, or string them above a seating area to create a starry night canopy. That warm, gentle glow instantly makes the space feel cozy, intimate, and festive. To add some depth and drama, use solar-powered spotlights. This is a technique called uplighting. Place a spotlight at the base of a plant with a cool shape, like a Japanese maple or a spiky ornamental grass, and aim it upwards. This highlights its form and casts beautiful dramatic shadows on the wall or fence behind it. You can also use spotlights to illuminate your focal point, like that water feature or piece of art we talked about earlier. By choosing what to light up and what to leave in shadow, you create a sense of mystery and make the garden feel bigger and more dynamic after dark. The problem of wanting peace but having noise. Your small garden should be your sanctuary, a place to escape and relax, but it's pretty hard to find your zen when all you can hear is traffic, your neighbor's mower, or the general hum of the city. That lack of peace can make you want to just stay inside. Here's where we bring back an old friend for a new purpose: the mini water feature. This goes beyond just being a pretty focal point. This is about adding a sound layer to your garden that actively makes it feel better. The gentle sound of trickling or bubbling water is one of the best ways to mask distracting background noise and create a real sense of peace, and you definitely don't need a pond. A high-impact, small-footprint water feature is an easy weekend project. All you need is a large watertight container, a nice ceramic pot, a metal basin or a repurposed barrel, and a small, inexpensive pump. Solar-powered is easiest. Put the pump in the bottom, fill it with water, add some decorative river stones, and turn it on. The pump will create a continuous, gentle bubbling sound that is incredibly calming. You can even add a few little aquatic plants, like a dwarf water lily or some water lettuce, to bring in another layer of life. The presence of water also attracts birds and butterflies, making your garden feel more connected to nature. It's a tiny addition that makes a huge difference, turning your garden from just a place you look at into a multi-sensory retreat that actually soothes your mind. The problem of a jumbled color palette. You love color, so you bought one of everything: a red geranium, a yellow marigold, a pink petunia, a purple salvia. But now that they're all crammed together in your small space, it doesn't look vibrant, it looks messy and chaotic, which can actually make the space feel smaller. The key is to create a sense of calm by choosing and repeating a limited color palette. This is a pro-design secret for making any space feel more harmonious, sophisticated, and put together. By being a little disciplined with your colors, you create a unified look that's easy on the eyes and makes the whole garden feel bigger. Start by picking just 2 or 3 colors that look great together. A classic combo for making a space feel larger is a cool palette of blues, purples, and whites, maybe with some silvery foliage mixed in. Cool colors naturally recede, creating an illusion of depth. Hot colors like red and orange seem to jump forward, which can make a space feel more closed in. Try planting flowers like lavender, salvia, and agapanthus at the edges of the garden to make the boundaries feel farther away. Once you have your colors, the real trick is repetition. Weave those same colors through all of your different pots and flower beds. This repetition creates a visual rhythm that guides your eye smoothly through the space. To finish the look, pick one single neutral color for your hardscape items like pots, furniture, and fences. Using a light color like cream, light gray, or a soft blue on a fence can make the boundaries fade back and reflect more light, making the whole garden feel brighter and more open. This curated approach turns a jumble of plants into a beautifully orchestrated and spacious-feeling garden room. The problem of thinking a small garden can't be productive. There's this myth that if you have a small garden, you have to choose between pretty and practical. You assume you don't have enough room to grow your own food, so you just settle for flowers. The solution is to get clever and create an edible garden in disguise by mixing your vegetables and herbs right in with your flowers. There is absolutely no rule that says your veggie patch has to be a separate, boring plot. Combining edibles and ornamentals, also known as edible landscaping, is a beautiful, space-saving, and super popular way to garden. Start thinking about how beautiful vegetables can be. The deep ruffled green leaves and vibrant red stems of Swiss chard are just as gorgeous as many flowers. Plant them in a container right next to your petunias. The feathery foliage of carrots or the lacy leaves of kale can add amazing texture to a mixed border. Instead of a plain old bean pole, grow scarlet runner beans up a trellis. Their stunning red flowers are a magnet for hummingbirds long before you ever get a harvest. You can also use all the vertical and container tricks we've already talked about. Grow climbing peas and cucumbers up a trellis against a wall. Plant a cut-and-come-again lettuce mix in a window box for a never-ending supply of fresh salad greens. Many herbs like trailing rosemary and thyme look amazing spilling over the edges of pots and raised beds. There are even dwarf fruit trees, like apples and lemons, that are bred to live their whole lives in large containers. By blurring the lines between the flower garden and the vegetable patch, you can create a space that is not only a feast for the eyes, but a feast for the table too. So which of these ideas got your imagination going? Are you ready to build that vertical pallet garden, or are you suddenly looking at that old rusty wheelbarrow in a completely new way? I really want to hear about it. Let me know down in the comments which project you're going to tackle first. I read every single one, and I love hearing about the amazing spaces you all are creating. And if you're ready to turn that small space into a huge masterpiece, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Here at Garden Homes, we share eco-friendly, creative, and practical tips every single week. Let's grow together. Remember, a small garden is never a limitation. It's a canvas for your creativity. It's a fun puzzle that challenges you to be smarter with your design and more innovative with your choices. You don't need a huge yard to create a space that brings you joy, peace, and maybe even a few fresh cherry tomatoes for your salad. By going vertical, creating layers, upcycling with style, and using a few clever design tricks, you can absolutely build the garden of your dreams. It's right outside your door, and it's closer than you think. Thanks for watching, and happy gardening.